What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a burst fade. This is the step number one. We're going to set our first guideline followed by a second guideline. We're going to blend that guideline out, then create another guideline with the number one guard with the lever open, blend that out to get this end result right here. This is a blurry burst fade with the curls on top, guys. Make sure you guys also subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate you guys showing that support, even hitting a like or commenting and letting me know what I can do better for the videos or what you guys like. But either way, we're gonna set our foundation with the number 3 guard, just getting rid of that bulk around the ear. And for the first guideline, guys, you want to first examine that C cup area right there that's outlined in the white marker. Then we're gonna go right there from the C cup area, kind of like towards the beginning. We're gonna go around the ear, and the guideline is gonna stop at the end of his ear. So that's just kind of like the rule of thumb that I use. That's my personal preference. You might have a different way of doing it, but this is what works for me. And I'm setting my guideline with my soft trimmer. What that means is that I didn't go out of my way to zero gap this trimmer. It makes it easier for me to set my guideline, and after I set my guideline, I want to just get rid of that bulk and do it and repeat the process on the other side. Next, I'm gonna grab my Babyless skeletons. These are pretty sharp, probably the sharpest trimmers that I got. So we're gonna line up around the neck, just kind of round it out towards the back. And after that, we're gonna get rid of that extra bulk. I did tell you guys that my trimmers weren't zero gap, so I just have to make sure to get rid of as most hair as possible to make it as bald as I can. And after, we're gonna grab our Babyless Gold FX clippers, and we're gonna set a 1-finger guideline that's proportional to that first guideline that we set. And I'm just flicking out towards the top and making this a quick process. This is kind of like a rough draft for me. You don't have to focus on being so perfect, because I'm gonna set another guideline on top of this on the next step. Now we're gonna grab our number 1 guard and open up the lever. The lever positions all the way down. This creates the half. We put the 1 guard, and this is basically the 1.5. And we're gonna do the same thing, guys. We're gonna flick out about a finger and make sure that your guideline is proportional to that first guideline. Everything has to be consistent for your fade to turn out really blurry in the end. So just stay focused and do the same thing on both sides. Then we're going to repeat the process with the number 2 guard with the lever open. This is a 2.5, 1 finger above the 1.5. So we're going basically from the half to the 1.5 to the 2.5 and creating 1-finger guidelines. And it was my kind of like my second time cutting my client up, so I just like to just basically create a rough draft before I go in and I start blending, so I can get an idea of how high and how low I have to go to fit this burst fade into my client's head. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, guys. My client here is not going to be identical to your client. You're going to have to be able to fit the fade according to your client's head shape. And now we're going to pay attention to that guideline that we just set with the number 2. We're going to close our lever and do the close to open lever method, and we're going to keep opening the lever as we keep on going higher into the fade. Remember, we used the number 3 guard in the beginning of the tutorial to set the nice clean foundation of our cut. So just keep repeating that process, guys, until you guys are comfortable and moving on to the next step. The next step, we're going to do the same thing using the 1.5 guard. A key element in this fading process here is just having a nice clean touch. Don't use a lot of pressure when you guys are doing this and working with more of the bulk on top. That's part of the part of the darkness of the fade. It's just keeping a light touch when you are flicking out. And now, guys, we're going to repeat the process with the 1.5 guard, doing the same thing. Make sure you guys are using a soft touch and just going in consistent motion around the whole guideline. What I like doing too, in between me fading, I just like organizing my work. If I feel like something needs to be lined up or just cleaned up, I just make sure to do it. With my trimmer, I'm gonna go ahead and line up my C cup area using the corners of my trimmer, kind of like a pencil start right there at the top of the temple. Then we're gonna just position our machine laying like sideways on the client, and you have to keep tilting and tilting your machine just to get the right angle for your machine to get that nice crispy finish. So it's all about placing your machine on the right angles and using the right amount of pressure just to get the best out of your machine. Before we start blending this guideline out, I just want to make sure and double check that everything is taken down. I open up the lever and I just redo the whole guideline again just to make sure that everything's consistent. So once we double check that everything's consistent, now we're going to put our lever in the middle, hit the guideline in the middle, go a tiny bit higher into the guideline, open up our lever all the way and hit the full guideline completely again. Then we're going to close our lever, hit the beginning of the guideline and keep opening and opening and opening our lever until it's fully open, and just keep repeating that process, guys, until your guideline is completely blended. So once you guys get the idea of doing the close to open or middle open closed, you guys will be able to understand the principles of just fading a guideline out. You guys don't necessarily have to do my steps. You guys can just use a lever method that you're mostly comfortable with. I like just switching it up. It just helps me understand more of the fading process and how just everything works and how to keep more guidelines darker, you know, and it's just the trial and error thing for me too. I just like experimenting, and that's just part of just barbering, and that's just how you get better in general. You just try new things while you're blending and you just get a better feel of what works better for you. And right here, once we're done doing that middle open close method, I'm gonna go now and do a closed to open lever method now. So just running it through, guys, just close the lever, hit the beginning of the guideline, open it one level, do the same thing, go back and forth using the corners of your machine, open up the lever, do the same thing, use the corners, and then we're gonna open up our lever again and go a tiny bit higher as we're using the same consistent motion and the same amount of pressure. And now, after softening that guideline, we're gonna attach our 0.5 guard and do the last step of our blending process. My lever is completely closed, guys, and I'm gonna keep doing the close to open lever method and just going around the whole guideline using the corners of my clippers. You guys can see my lever's about in the middle position, and I'm just going after those little dark spots, guys, and using a lever play method. Lever play is when you just use your eyes and you go higher into the guideline as you open the lever, and you keep using your eyes. And if you guys see like a darker spot towards the beginning of the guideline, you guys obviously want to close the lever. As you guys keep going higher into the guideline and you guys see dark spots, you got to keep opening the lever and just keep repeating that process, guys. This will get easier the more that you practice it. It might look a little bit more confusing, but either way, guys, let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think so far of all of these blending methods. If it's complicated, let me know down below. If you feel like it's been easy to follow, let me know down below too. I need some feedback on just the content in general. I want to be able to deliver the best content for you guys to be able to learn. And after we finish this, guys, we're gonna go in with our shaver. The reason why I use my shaver in the end is because I just like having full control of where I balled out, especially when I do burst fades or low tapers. It just gives me more control, and it's a lot easier to blend out a trimmer around the ear than it is to blend out a shaver. To polish that shave line, guys, we want to use the trimmer that's the sharpest that we got. So just use the corners and just go underneath that shave line that we just set. And it's fairly quick, guys. Just run through the steps, and then to do the lineup, you want to get something to put the hair back so we have a good eye of where his hairline is going to land. Fortunately for us, guys, we already did the C-cup area. So for me, I like doing the C-cup area first because it gives me more confidence going into the lineup knowing that that's already set. All I have to do now is do the top right corner of the hairline and then do the sides of the hairline, and I can make sure that it's just really crispy, so then I can just repeat the same process in the other side. So the detail work, guys, is what's going to separate your work from everybody else's. You have to make sure to go above and beyond for your client, and just make sure that you're just trying harder on every cut, because these are the things that's going to make you better. Trial and error. Even if you mess up, guys, you guys just have to keep on trying new techniques, new things, new detail work. And I'm going in with my comb and just aiming for those dark spots. And another method that I can show you guys is called the floating method. We want to angle our machine on its side, and I'm not putting my machine on my client's scalp. I'm just floating as I go higher into the fade, and I'm aiming for those dark spots, guys. This is a pretty advanced technique. I wouldn't recommend it if you're not comfortable, but if you're willing to try it out, just try it out and see if it works for you. And after this detail step, we're gonna throw in some curling mousse by Design Essentials. I think that's the brand. This is the perfect product to use for any client that has curly hair. Now all you got to do, guys, is just tap the product into the tips of the client's hair. Let the product just sit in, and it's going to give it a nice clean finish. You know, you got to give your client a nice clean finish when he walks out of your chair. This is the before, guys, and after all the steps that I've demonstrated, this is the after. The nice blurry burst fade, the clean, just consistent guidelines that we've set on both sides is going to guarantee results on both sides of the head, which is super important, guys. The hairline is just as crispy. Thank you guys for watching my video all the way through. If you guys got any gems, let me know down below. Subscribe to the channel, like, and just tune in to more just content that I'm going to be dropping weekly. You know, my name is David Escamilla, and I'm out of here. Peace.